Man and Chesia Anyinka to lead us.
Good morning, everyone. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today with thanksgiving in our hearts for the successful launching of the Next Gen project. We convene here in unity with hope for the opportunities that will be offered to our youth and the prosperity this could bring to our great nation. We ask you to bless our leaders, to bless our partners, and to bless everyone who has convened here today and contributed greatly to making this dream a reality. We ask you through the proceedings of the day to guide us and to give us your wisdom so that we may offer up our efforts to you and bring glory to your name. Amen.
Let us kindly take our seats. Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, Honorable John Badi, Cabinet Secretary for Treasury and National Planning, Honorable Wycliffe Oparanya, Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development, all Principal Secretaries led by Dr. Chris Kipto, Principal Secretary for National Treasury, Dr. Gary Cornell, United Nations Resident Coordinator, Dr. Jean-Luc Stallon, Resident Representative of the United Nations and Development Program, members of the Diplomatic Corps represented, Mr. Jaswinder Jasbedi, Chair KEPSA, Ms. Caroline Karaoke, CEO KEPSA, all development partners represented, the Next Gen Initiative participants present. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, esteemed partners in development, and the bright young minds gathered here today, we are honored to convene this morning for a cause central to our nation's future, the employment of our youth. This program stands as a testament to a deliberate and sustained commitment to unlocking opportunity for the young people of this country, equipping them with skills, resources, and platforms to shape their own destinies and, in turn, the destiny of our nation. Your Excellency, to start us off, allow me to invite Dr. Chris Kipto, the Principal Secretary for Treasury, to make his remarks. Let's give him a warm welcome and a clap, please, as he comes to make his remarks. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Cabinet Secretary is here, led by my CS, Honorable John Badi, and Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa, and my colleagues, Jacob Fikirini and Susan Mangeni, the UN RES Coordinator, and the UNDP country representative, development partners present, leaders of the private sector, young people present here, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a privilege to have His Excellency join us this morning. Your Excellency, my Cabinet Secretary will be speaking more. I just wanted to take this chance to thank you for accepting to have this occasion today. I remember 10 days ago when I was in my office, I was visited by John Luke and Caro Karaoke, and they were really keen to have this event today. And I consulted my Cabinet Secretary and yourself, and you directed that we have this event today. So we are here for the Kenya Next Generation Youth Employment Program, which will support skills enhancement of our young people. It's a 3-year program, and in the meeting we just had, you have given further direction on how to refine this directive, and therefore I will leave the rest to my Cabinet Secretary to expound more. With those many remarks, thank you very much. Yeah, it's now my pleasure to welcome Honorable John Badi to address us.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CGH, fellow Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, Principal Secretary is present, development partners and members of the diplomatic corps, representatives of our private sector partners, the young Kenyans who have joined us here today, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, I'm delighted to join you this morning together with the UNDP and KEPSA for the launch of the NextGen.ke Youth Employment Program. As Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, I would like to speak about this initiative from the perspective of the public purse, why government has chosen to invest in it, and why it represents sound economic policy, and why it matters for Kenya's long-term growth and prosperity. The National Treasury has a simple but important responsibility, and that is to ensure that every shilling entrusted to government is invested where it delivers the greatest economic and social return for the people of Kenya. No investment offers greater returns than investing in the people, as this will spur productive capacity and more returns in the future. Kenya, as we know it, is a youthful nation. We have approximately 75% of our population below the age of 35, making our young people our greatest comparative advantage. So for many graduates, the transition from education into meaningful employment remains one of the most challenging stages in their professional journey. And that is why when John Luke reported here, Your Excellency, I remember having the first and the initial meetings with him, and I expressed to him that our major concern as a government is how then do we create more job opportunities to our graduates who are coming out of colleges. Because that is the single most important challenge that we have as a country. And it is not unique to Kenya. This is something that is fundamental in this continent, because we have a growing population, yet job opportunities are not expanding as much. So from the National Treasury's perspective, this is not simply a labor market issue. It is an economic issue. A country's long-term competitiveness depends on the productivity of its workforce, and the more skilled, experienced, and productive our young people become, the stronger our businesses and the more competitive would be our economy, and the greater our capacity to sustain inclusive growth. This is why youth employment is not simply a social priority under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, but it is an economic imperative. No economy can achieve sustained growth if it underutilizes its most abundant factor of production, and that is its people. Every shilling we invest in programs such as NextGen is an investment in Kenya's future productive capacity. Future taxpayers are also created, and future entrepreneurs and future business leaders are developed. So, Your Excellency, today with this launch, you are actually triggering into action 2 billion shillings allocated by the National Treasury on behalf of the government of Kenya for the implementation of this program. This allocation reflects a deliberate choice by your government, Your Excellency, to back our young people with real resources at scale. And this is in addition to a number of resources that we have also allocated to support youth programs. And I would not fail to mention Nyota. This funding sits alongside UNDP's catalytic initial contribution of 175 million shillings and other commitments from private sector, creating a genuine partnership where public money is designed to crowd in investment from development partners and the private sector to multiply its impact. This is exactly how public finance should work. Public resources should not seek to replace private investment. They should unlock it. And every shilling invested by government should encourage additional investment by businesses and development partners, multiplying both impact and value for money. And as we launch this program, the National Treasury is providing the resources, but it is the private sector that turns capital into jobs. And Kenya's private sector is rising to the occasion. More than 20 companies have already committed to take up 500 interns for this first cohort and over the next 3 years. And more than 30,000 young Kenyans will move through structured, stipend-supported placements. I know you will speak more to this. So one of the most important responsibilities of National Treasury, Your Excellency, is to ensure that public investment reinforce one another. Our responsibility is to build a coherent national architecture where different initiatives serve different needs while working towards the same national objective. I don't want to speak much again about Nyota because I think this is something that we have talked about in this country. So together with all the initiatives that we are developing, we will form a continuum of opportunity, ensuring that young Kenyans from different educational backgrounds and aspirations can assess pathways that best match their potential. But Your Excellency, before I conclude, allow me to mention also that these programs and initiatives that we are taking will not succeed or will come to naught unless there is confidence in this economy by the private sector and unless we crowd in investment, both domestic and foreign investment. And Your Excellency, that is why I cannot leave this stage without mentioning that it is saddening and disheartening to hear national leaders or people who claim to be the national leaders talk negatively about our economy, especially at a time when we have worked so hard to create confidence in this economy. And this is exhibited by numbers. We have seen increased number of tourists in this country in the past few months. We have seen increased investment in this country in the past few months. The Nairobi Securities Exchange is performing much better. It's now the 4th best performing Nairobi Securities Exchange in the world. We have seen more credit going to the private sector. Your Excellency, a while back, in fact, the beginning of last year, we were seeing a shrinking, negative growth in credit to the private sector. Today, credit to the private sector is almost hitting a double-digit growth at 9.3%. And then you hear leaders or people who claim to be leaders talk negatively and advising people not to invest in this country and advising tourists not to come to this country. Your Excellency, that is where the difference is between a team which does not believe in this country, a team that does not believe in the people of this country, a team that does not believe in the future of this country or don't care about the future of this country. And there is another team, this side, which believes in this country, which has faith in this country, which believes in the human capital. We are seeing here today 500 strong Kenyans who are going out there to create more wealth in this economy. A team that believes in the future of this country. And that is the difference between us, Your Excellency, and your government, and those other people, you like referring to them as characters, and I also want to agree, they are characters who don't actually know what is good for this country. So, Your Excellency, I don't want to proceed beyond this because I know you are going to speak to Kenyans and explain more about this program. Thank you very much, and I want to thank you very much, Your Excellency, and I will allow the next program to run. Thank you.
A clap for Waziri Tafadhali. Your Excellency, we also have development partners represented. Allow me to usher in Dr. Jean-Luc Stallon to also make his remarks. Welcome, sir. Let's give him a clap as he's coming. Welcome.
Amujambo nyote. Nimefurahi sana kuwa hapa leo kuongea hii maneno ya vijana. Leo ni siku ya vijana. Your Excellency President Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Cabinet Secretaries and Honorable Principal Secretaries, Development Partners, and my dear brother, the UN Resident Coordinator, private sector leaders, distinguished guests, young people of Kenya, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to join you today for the launch of the Next Gen KE Youth Employment Program, a bold partnership between the Government of Kenya and the United Nations Development Program in collaboration with the private sector alliance, KBC. Today is about much more than launching a program. It is about launching opportunity. It is about investing in Kenyans' greatest asset, its youth. Every year, almost 1 million young Kenyans enter the job market, the labor market. Yet, only about 200,000 secure formal employment. Behind these statistics are talented young women and men who have done everything society has asked them. They have studied, graduated, acquired skills, and are now looking for fair opportunity to contribute to the development trajectory of their country. The challenge before us is therefore not a lack of talent, it is a lack of pathways that connect education to meaningful work experience and ultimately to decent employment. That is exactly what NextGen.ke seek to address. This program combines structured workplace experience, mentorship, practical skills development, and financial support to help young people make the critical transition from education into employment. Through this first cohort of 500 young Kenyans, we'll begin that journey with distinguished private sector company, many of whom are represented here today, while laying the foundation for a national program that will scale up to reach more than tens of thousands, depending on the availability of resources. Ladies and gentlemen, this program also represents something equally important, a new model of development financing. Around the world, development cooperation is changing. Official development assistance is under increasing pressure, and countries are looking for more sustainable ways of finance their own development priorities. Kenya is demonstrating exactly the kind of leadership that this new era demands. The government has made the strategic decision to invest its own resources in its young people, allocating Kenya shilling 2 billion to support this initiative. Maybe you can applaud for that. UNDP, United Nations Development Program, is proud to complement this investment with catalytic financing, technical expertise, and implementation support. Together, we are leveraging this investment to mobilize additional resources from the private sector and development partners. And I'm really happy to see that we have many development partners who have come with us this morning. This is what sustainable development means: partnership that multiply national investment. There is another reason why this partnership matters. Government creates the enabling environment, development partners support, but ultimately jobs are created by businesses. The private sector is the engine of economic growth. It is where innovation happens, and it is where millions of young people will build their careers. That is why the partnership with KBC and participating company is so important. By opening their workplace to young graduates, These companies are not simply offering internship, they are investing in Kenya's future workforce. They are helping bridge the gap between classroom learning and real work experience. They are building the skills pipeline that Kenya economy needs to remain competitive. UNDP is committed to ensure that this program delivers measurable results, maintain the highest fiduciary standards, leverage digital innovation, and continue attracting new partners who share our vision. Our ambition is to demonstrate a model that can transform how governments, businesses, and development partners work together to address one of the most defining development challenge of our time. Your Excellency, allow me to congratulate the government of Kenya for its vision and leadership, and to thank you, Excellency, the President of the Republic, and the Honorable Cabinet Secretary of National Treasury for entrusting UNDP with this landmark initiative. I also want to thank KEPSA, the participating company, and all our partners for believing in this shared vision. And finally, to the young people of Kenya, this program is about you. It is about your talent, your aspirations, your ideas, and your future. Asanteni sana.
Your Excellency, with your permission, we'll also hear from KEPSA, so allow me to invite KEPSA CEO, Caro Kariuki, to make some brief remarks. Let's give her a clap as she's coming, kindly.
Thank you very, very much. Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, all cabinet secretaries and government officials and private sector, development partners, and our young people who are here today, good morning. Good morning. I think we were offered such a good breakfast today, but more than that, I'm so excited. Though it was a very cold morning, it felt warm because of the agenda that we are speaking today, the young people, the youth and jobs, and nothing is as exciting for any country when we are talking about that and actually delivering. As KEPSA, we are no longer just an advocacy organization talking about an enabling business environment, which we do, but a platform that through our 6 strategic pillars, we work with government, with development partners, and other related organizations to really look at areas of youth and jobs, governance and business ethics, climate change and green growth, attract investments and strengthen enterprise competitiveness, empower women and youth, support SMEs, promote ethical governance. And really, this is part of our mandate. So we no longer just say what business needs, but it's really rolling our sleeves and getting to the ground. And so, Your Excellency, before I really say why we are so excited about being part of this organization, I want to take us down memory lane, and especially for the young people here today, why this will work, and that because we have learned lessons before, and that it will cover the whole country. It's not an Nairobi program. And I'll begin where our journey began. 2011 to 2016, we came to the realization that as private sector, we cannot just encourage our businesses to create jobs, but we have to engage in projects and programs that really bring this to fruitfulness, because our businesses do employ and they hire as often as they can and the mandates they have, but we also have to do something very different. And so we began what was called the Kenya Youth Empowerment Project then, with the financing of the World Bank and working with the government and KEPSA delivering. The project targeted employment youth aged 15 to 29 then, with a minimum of 8 years of schooling. We implemented at that point, because this was a pilot, only Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu. But we were able to reach 14,000 beneficiaries with life skills, core business skills, and workplace internship training. And roughly, out of that project, because we followed even after 8 out of the 10 participants went into gainful employment or self-employment. And beyond the numbers are stories that demonstrate what opportunity can achieve. And I'll give you 2 stories. Henry Mwangi, a beneficiary from Nairobi's Dandora estate, went on to establish Waste to Energy Limited, now employing more Kenyans, even securing 300 million Kenya shillings tender to build a biodiversity system for the National Housing Corporation. And I wish he was here today. Vincent, a diploma holder in human resource management who had job hunted for 3 years without success, was placed through KYP with Diversity Eastern and Central Africa Limited and was absorbed into the company, now serving as an assistant human resource manager. Together, their stories, with one launching enterprise and another being absorbed into a private sector employer, are proof of what the first door can do. And that's what we look forward. I'll also give you another story from that. A young girl from Mombasa, which we have followed for years, came into the program, got the life skills and the on-job skills, went back to her mother, who had one sewing machine, and she started with that. But because of the skills she had learned, she was able, and the stipend she was getting, she continued to save half of that stipend. She bought 6 other sewing machines and started working. The work became so much that she came back to us and said, I need more money to buy more machines. And we introduced her to the youth fund then. And then she was able to get youth fund and able to start doing even uniforms for some of the government offices. And those are the stories that encourage our hearts to do more. But beyond KYP, we thought the environment is changing. And the nature of work is also changing. And so we partnered with Ministry of ICT and MasterCard Foundation and other stakeholders to implement what is called the Ajira Digital Program, Kenya's flagship digital jobs initiative, reaching all the 47 counties, including the refugee camps. Ajira Digital has registered more than 600 users on the Ajira Digital portal, trained over 400,000 youth in market-aligned digital skills, and facilitated over 470,000 direct and indirect digital opportunities. This has contributed to a 4-fold growth in the number of young people earning online through digital work countrywide, from about 600 youth in 2019 to 2.4 million Kenyans today. This program has deliberately ensured inclusion by supporting women, persons with disability, refugees, as I mentioned, were in the refugee camps, Kakuma. We are building partnerships with more than 300 employers, BPO firms, digital labor platforms, and training institutions. What this taught us, again, I'll give you one story, and I hope you can find him. He's called Kelvin Mudhomi, a former casual tour guide in Embu County. Built his freelance profile on platforms like Fiverr and Upwork, and now competes for international clients without ever leaving his community, going into mentor peers and planning digital innovation of his own. So you don't even have to leave the country. And I can go on and on Twende Digital Project, again, covering Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Kiambu, Nyeri, Kakamega, Uasin Gishu, Nakuru, Machakos, with a focus on undeserved communities, because that's the whole idea. Because when sometimes some programs we will start, there are those communities that will grab the opportunities because they know, but we have to start projects and programs that now target also the undeserved communities who are not tech savvy, who will never be reached if we are only here in Nairobi. And that's what Twende Digital Project is about. And I can go on and on. We're on part of the TVET-E project, and the PS is here. He knows the work we are doing, and also on the OGE program. So that has given quite a lot of experience for us, but also lessons learned. So as we go into this new next gen, we have lessons, we have stories of young people. We can connect with the young people here to understand what did it do to them, how did they make it. And I'll ask all the 22 companies that are participating in the first cohort to just stand where they are. They're right behind me. And these companies are the first ones to say, we shall take the first 500 cohort. They span from manufacturing to banks, to media, to agriculture organizations, to international organizations, all represented here. But also, there are another almost 250 companies that are here that have said, as you move to the next cohorts, we are interested to pick the youth, and we are here to say that we are part of this program. I will not ask all of them to stand, but they're here, Your Excellency, for you to speak to them. And so as I complete and as I conclude, none of this has been achieved by one organization alone. As I mentioned, all those other programs, it's been partnership. Each of them, we have partnered with government, and we've also partnered with development partners. And so my challenge is to the private sector first, that please come on board, more of you. We have, our target is in three years to reach at least 100,000 young people. We cannot do without you, the private sector. For the development partners that are represented here, we need you. As you have heard me mention in all the other programs, the only reason we succeeded is that you are part of us. You're in this country, you're part of our development. And so, to the young Kenyans, I leave you with this word. This platform is built for you, and with you in mind. Keep showing up the way you've shown up before in other programs, and do what you know how to do best. Give your best, get employed by these companies, start your own job. Those may be with certificates and diplomas, as we saw with other programs. You may want to go back to school and get your degree and move on so that you can get better opportunities. So karibuni, and we really look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Caro. Your Excellency, this story would not be complete without the youth putting their voice in. And we have two young people who've had a similar program and experience. And allow me to invite Muremi Jamlek and Stella Kidera to just come and give their testimonials briefly on their experience and also inspire the 500 present today. Let's give them a clap as they're coming. Please, karibu.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, good morning. Good morning, we can do better than that. Good morning. Thank you. Allow me to begin with a simple truth. Potential is often hidden in plain sight. Many times, the world overlooks the very people who carry the most heart, the most grit, and the most promise, simply because they are young. 5 years ago, I was one of those young people. I had done everything the guidebook promised. Excel in school, stay disciplined, work hard, be the best, and in return, the world would open its doors. But after graduating, those doors remained firmly shut. Every application returned a rejection. Every interview ended with, "You need experience." But of course, I lacked experience. I had just graduated, but instead of being mentored into opportunity, the system penalized me for it. It was almost as if the world was intentionally working against me. Those 2 years where I tarmacked for opportunity were brutal. I was exhausted, angry, and losing hope. All I wanted was just one chance for someone to say, "Let's try you." Someone who saw my heart as qualification and not a weakness. That someone became an organization called Core Africa Kenya. For the first time, I entered a space where they embraced everything the world dismissed. My youth, my inexperience, my hunger to serve. Core Africa didn't ask what I lacked. They asked what I was willing to give. And that, ladies and gentlemen, changed everything. I moved from feeling invisible to becoming a volunteer in Tigania West, Meru County, working with the community for a period of 1 year, facilitating community-led initiatives while being mentored. That program is what made me who I am today. It gave me purpose, clarity, and the courage to audaciously dream again. It reminded me that young Africans and young people in general do not need permission to lead. We only need opportunities. And that is where you in this room matter today and why this day is extremely significant. The Next Gen KE Youth Employment Program is not only timely, but needed. This program will do to others what Co-Africa did to me. Give them a fighting chance in this world by providing opportunities to gain work experience and attain both professional and personal growth. What I love the most about this program is that it caters to both graduates and those who did not go through tertiary education. So this means no one, and absolutely no one, is left behind. It is because of programs like this that we as young people can confidently walk into any room because we have the experience to back up our certifications. This program will give my generation hope for a better future and a reminder that we are seen, we are catered for, and we matter. Thank you all for joining hands to support the youth of this country. It has been an honor and a privilege to address you all today. My name is Stella Kidera, and I am proof of what can happen when someone gives a young African an opportunity. Thank you.
Ambia rafiki yako, leo ni siku ya mayouth. Ukiona hasemi, haamini. Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, all protocols observed. Good morning. Good morning. So my name is Murimi Jamlek, CEO Beyond Murimi Fashions Outfitters, where we create creative outfits, portraits, and also do some eco-friendly products. I did 2 diplomas, both in fashion design and technical trainers education. Got good grades, but eventually tarmacked, like many youth today. That didn't make me to give up. I kept pushing, even now and then. I kept my spirit high. I applied every opportunity that came in. I attended interviews one by one, failed in the interviews. I almost heard from all the recruiters that you are very brilliant. We can see your grades are so good, but you have no experience. Then I asked myself, where will I get the experience if no one is willing to even give me a chance? I kept wondering, who will come to my rescue? Then, through reading the Bible, it encouraged me that keep your faith burning and so high. Despite getting good grades in my 2 diplomas, I was unemployed. No one was willing to employ me with no experience. There came in application for TVT program in partnership with KEPSA, AFD Bank, and Ministry of Education. I applied. Luckily, I got this for the first time. A round of applause. This changed my life. I took it as a rare opportunity because I had failed in other interviews which I had attended earlier. So, okay. Apologies for that. So, it made me feel that this is the right opportunity to utilize and to make my life. And for sure, it made my life because as we stand today, I'm the CEO Beyond Murimi Fashions. This is as a result of mentorships, work readiness trainings offered during my internship. The practical skills offered during my internship built me to have confidence to start my own, to have confidence and say, because I was not employed, I was given an internship, I can employ a youth. And funny enough, I have employed youths in my business. So, if you are given this opportunity as a youth, take it as a rare opportunity. Take it as one on your own to build your future. It comes once, like many others say, use it with a lot of discipline. I want to thank the government led by His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto for having the idea of supporting youth. I want also to thank the development partners for allowing the idea prevail. I want to also to thank the private sectors for getting into partnerships with all these sectors to make the idea come true. It cannot go unmentioned that we also thank the youth for having that urge of taking any opportunity that comes their way. As I conclude, to my fellow youth and young people in this room and in other different parts of the country, the opportunity may look so small, but take it. Because every step, you must start small. No one starts from above. You must start from the bottom. Otherwise, thank you. Have a blessed day.
A round of applause for Murimi one more time. Your Excellency, I'd like us to now progress to the signing of the financial agreement. And as we have the table brought, allow me to invite Just Bedi to just make some brief remarks as we have the changeover to have the table brought so that we can have the signing of the agreement done. Just Bedi.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Cabinet Secretaries here, government officials, development partners, colleagues from the private sector, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I speak today on behalf of Kenya employers, and I want to open up with the belief that should guide everything we do from here. The private sector is not waiting for the workforce of the future. We must help to build the workforce of the future. Every day, businesses across the country decide who to hire what skills they need and who they believe can help them grow. Behind every one of those decisions is a young Kenyan with the qualification, with the ambition, and with the potential, still waiting for someone to say, come in, let me give you a chance. Your Excellency, it was mentioned earlier on this morning that 1 million kids, 1 million youth in Kenya come into the job market every year, and we have a moral obligation to accommodate them in the private sector. This is where we are as employers. We need an honest conversation with ourselves. We often speak of skills mismatch in this country, and though it were the only problem with our education and our training system, it is not, Your Excellency, and let me repeat by saying no. Too often we ask young people for experience, as mentioned this morning, without giving them a chance to gain it. We say graduates are not workplace ready without asking whether we have done enough to shape what ready should mean. If we want a different outcome, we in the private sector must change our own practice first. So we are all guilty as charged, Your Excellency. That means working with training institutions to define the skills of our industries actually need before a young person graduates. It means opening our workplaces to interns like we're doing this morning and to apprentices, giving them meaningful work rather than simply a desk, and providing mentorship with feedback that helps them grow. And where a young person proves themselves, it means building the pathway for opportunity to employment. This responsibility, Your Excellency, does not belong to the large corporates in this room. Kenya's economy is powered by businesses of every size. An SME can give a young person their first job. A family-owned business can give their first mentor. A growing startup can give them their first state of innovation. The size of business does not determine the size of the impact, sir. One opportunity can change one's life, and many such opportunities can change the trajectory of a whole generation. I speak today on behalf, sorry, Excellency. Sorry about that, technology issues. We have also seen what employers can gain in return. Businesses that invest in young talent do not simply give young Kenyans experience, they build their own talent pipeline. Fresh perspectives, new ideas, the future employees identified and developed early. The businesses investing in talent today are building the workforce they need tomorrow. This is not charity, Your Excellency. It's an investment in our own competitiveness, which we have talked about severally and in many occasions, that we need to be in a competitive environment. That is the opportunity before us with NextGen today, a platform building career, stronger pathways to talent, but its success will ultimately depend on what happens after this launch. When an employer takes on an intern, when a manager takes the time to mentor, when a business chooses to see potential where others only lack experience, this is where the real change happens, and this is where the real change will happen. So my call to every employer in this room and every employer across the country today is simple. Open your doors, create opportunities, mentor young people, hire for potential. When you give a young person their first opportunity, you strengthen more than a business, you strengthen a family, you strengthen a community, and you strengthen the future of this country. Your Excellency, on behalf of Kenya's employers, we are ready to do our part. Let this NextGen program be a program that we launch today for tomorrow. Let it be a commitment that we carry forward, one opportunity, one workplace, one young person at a time. Finally, Your Excellency, I would like to thank our development partners, UNDP, for their support for this project, and I wish you every success, the young people in this room today, as you join this program. And yes, we will deliver, and I can assure you that the 100,000 that Carol talked about will be a reality and not a myth. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jasbedi. Your Excellency, we'll now transition to the signing of the financial agreement. So as we also bring the signing table, allow me to invite the signatories, and that is the CS Mbadi and Dr. Jean-Luc Stallon to come and take their seats at the signing table. I'll also invite PS Dr. Kipto together with Gary Cornell to flank as the signing is being done. This is the signing of the financial agreement. Let me also invite the legal counsel to come and assist the signatories to make their signatures for the financial agreement. So if we can kindly have the legal team who are going to assist with the signing of this particular financial agreement, which is the Next Gen initiative to support the pathway from education to sustainable employment. Once the signatures are done on each copy, the signatories can exchange for each to have signed the financial agreement, after which we'll request for them to stand up for a photo opportunity as they hold out the two agreements. After the signing of the agreements, I'll request the CS to now progress and invite His Excellency the President to make his remarks. And the signing being done, a round of applause please. Let's give a clap. Well done. So we'll request that you stand up and exchange the documents while with a handshake. There you go. Wonderful. Then you can each hold the document for display. You can each hold the document with both your hands, displaying. Closed. Let's have it closed. Yeah. That's it. Correct. A round of applause one more time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll then remove the table and the chairs. That is now finished. You can leave the documents. They'll be picked by the legal team as we now invite the CS to welcome His Excellency the President to make his remarks. Another round of applause for that financial agreement, which is unlocking opportunities to bridge the gap between education and the job market. Welcome, Bwana CS.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I have a very simple task, but just to welcome and invite His Excellency the President, so you'll join me by putting your hands together to invite His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, President William Samoei Ruto, with a round of applause as he comes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. Please, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana na karibu. Development, private sector leaders, the young people of our great republic, ladies and gentlemen. Every civilization has passed on its knowledge the same way, one generation teaching the next. Before anyone becomes a master of a craft or profession, they must first become an apprentice. That is how skills are passed on. That is how professions are built. And that is how nations are built. Every great career begins with someone willing to learn from someone who already knows. That is why internship matters. They are not simply temporary jobs or stepping stones. They are the bridge between learning and earning, between potential and performance, and between ambition and achievement. Today, we build another such bridge for the young people of Kenya through the launch of Next Gen Youth Empowerment Program. In doing so, we send a very clear message that Kenya believes in its young people. We are prepared to invest in their aspirations. We are determined to build an economy where talent, hard work, and innovation are matched by opportunity. For generations, education has been the greatest equalizer, opening doors to opportunity and social mobility. But today, a certificate or a degree alone is no longer enough. Employers are looking for practical experience, workplace discipline, problem-solving ability, and industry-ready skills. Yet, for too many young people, the journey from the classroom to the workplace has become longer and much more uncertain. When talent cannot find opportunity, dreams are delayed. Business struggles to find skilled workers, and our country loses productive potential that can never be recovered. That is why the government of Kenya has deliberately placed young people at the center of everything we are building. It is a promise we made and one we intend to continue keeping, that we will be deliberate and intentional in creating opportunities for our young people. For far too long, youth employment has been acknowledged, debated, and sometimes lamented. We have chosen action this time round over rhetoric. We are not merely creating jobs. We are creating opportunities through which young people discover their talent, develop mastery, and realize their full potential. Over the past 3 years, we have expanded opportunity at every stage of that journey. We have, for example, and I have seen this practically myself, of the 100,000 teachers we have hired, all of them have gone through internship. We hired them as interns, and they graduated into permanent and pensionable workers. We will do so again this year. And we have many sectors that we are now building in internships. We have internships at the public service space. Last year, on these very grounds, I had 5,600 interns in our building spaces. People who have graduated from our universities, from our colleges, from our TVETs, they were here. Today, they are interns in our affordable housing program. We have, as a result, built and continue to build a bigger pool of skilled professionals by bridging the gap between classroom and the workplace by creating internship in between. Also, through the prior or recognition of prior learning, what we call RPL program, we have 2,088 artisans, including 180 women, who have been certified, enabling them to access formal contracts and better incomes. You all know we rolled out Nyota to equip 820,000 young people with skills and enterprise support. More than 122,000 beneficiaries have already received capital to start or expand their businesses. Another 90,000 young people are being trained and equipped with practical skills and placed in jobs or supported to start their own enterprises now. In addition, 20,000 vulnerable young people who already possess skills acquired through formal or non-formal and informal learning will receive formal recognition and certification. I thought we said, Fikirini, we improved this to 40,000, right? Yes. So we had resources for 20,000, but when we asked for applications, we got a bigger pool of young people in Kenya. And many of these people are people who have acquired skills by being in a workplace where they work under skilled and trained craftsmen and women in different sectors. And they are today skilled people. But because they didn't go to a school or a college, they have the skill, but they don't have the certificate. So what we have decided is that we are going to provide resources to certify these people, to examine them and certify them and give them certificates at government cost. We opened pathways to the digital economy, equipping more than 1.9 million Kenyans with digital skills and enabling the creation of 350,000 digital jobs, positioning Kenya as one of Africa's leading digital talent hubs. I say this with profound confidence that today Kenya is, I think, in the latest ranking, we are country number 8 globally in business process outsourcing. And when I was in London the other day, when we attended one of the conferences, Teleperformance, the largest business processing company in the world, agreed to set up shop in Kenya. And today, they have their offices here at Two Rivers, and we are now working with them on how we can expand opportunities for young people, especially in that digital jobs space. I went to Ruiru last year to open the space for CCI, a company that is hiring 5,000 young people in one building on digital jobs, working for American companies from right here in Ruiru. That is the space we need to expand. And we have to skill our young people in Kenya for them to be ready to work in the digital jobs space. We did provide resources as Government of Kenya and hired trainers in all our TVETs so that young people can be given training, which doesn't take very long, sometimes 3 months, sometimes 6 months, and they are ready to take up positions on the digital jobs market. We have also scaled up overseas employment with more than 580,000 young people now working abroad. We strengthened the Youth Enterprise Fund and the Hustler Fund, and through access to government procurement opportunities, we opened public procurement to young entrepreneurs. Today, we take another decisive step. NextGen is a landmark partnership between the Government of Kenya, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and other partners. And it will accelerate inclusive youth economic transformation by connecting young people with meaningful work experience and practical skills. And I'm very happy to see you guys here this morning. You represent as a small part of the first 500 of you. And I will tell you how we are going to scale this up so that we can get to 100,000 young people like yourself accessing practical skills and job market experience as we go into the future. This program, as has been said, is initially targeting 30,000 young people. But looking at the partnership and the collaboration that is here, the Government of Kenya will be willing to scale up our partnership so that we can take this program to 100,000 young people. And when I met my good brother, the director of UNDP, when he came to present his papers, and he mentioned to me how he would have wanted to engage the Government of Kenya. I remember I told him, this is one thing that we had it in the Jubilee Manifesto. In fact, we had established a state department for internship, and we had called it internship and something, but we didn't succeed that time. So when John mentioned to me, I saw an opportunity where we can do this correctly this time round. And so I quickly informed John and his team in Treasury that this is a project we must support. And that is how we provided the first 2 billion shillings, which we have signed up here today. And let me put this in context, because I have many partners in this space. We have the private sector here. We have development partners here. We have the Government of Kenya. Now, the private sector, whenever I have meetings with them, they tell me, Mr. President, your graduates, engineers, business people, technicians, when they get out of college, they are not yet ready for the job market. And they possibly are right. We have young people on the other side who are asking the question. I have a degree, like Stella said, or my good friend Jamlek. The job market requires me to have practical experience. Where do I find it? And so we have, on one hand, young people who are ready. We have, on the other side, a market that is looking for skilled workers. And job experience, workplace experience, is standing in between. I think today we come into that space where we create the bridge. And we should do it together. I want to ask my friends in the private sector to do two things. because you are looking for skilled workers, people with experience, let us work together to create a big pool of skilled workers who then you can tap into and drive your businesses. This program is asking you to provide space in your companies. This program is asking you to mentor and support these young people to get job market experience so that you can have a big pool of labor that you can tap into to enhance productivity in your companies. On the other side, the government of Kenya, working with our development partners, government of Kenya will provide the policy space. And I will immediately, I already asked actually a piece of legislation that was in Parliament to be withdrawn so that we can factor in this aspect and provide a sound legal framework for us to undertake this exercise so that it is not a temporary stopgap, it is a permanent. It's a permanent feature of what happens when young people get out of their TVET colleges or their university spaces, what is the journey for them to the job market? How do we create that bridge? We are also going to provide resources as Government of Kenya. And I am now asking our development partners to partner with us in providing the resources in whatever configuration. If for every shilling the government of Kenya puts in, if the development partners can give us 2 or 3 shillings, we'd really appreciate it. I am asking also the private sector. These are people who will be working for you, in short, really. You'll be training them, yes, but they will be working for you. I think it's only fair that you give them something, you know? Also, even if it's just fare and lunch, or something, yeah. And I'm asking that we have a conversation with the private sector. Bwana Gashora, surely, if we, if you give us space in your big bank, and we support some of the people who are doing banking or finance to work as an intern in NCBA, now going to be Nedbank. I think if we ask you to pay 5,000 shillings or 20% of their stipend, it will not be too much to ask, you know? Because that way we grow a bigger pool of resources that then support the internship. Because ultimately, you will benefit from a pool of people who you can hire now with the requisite job market experience. They will have gone through the ledger books and all the other things that goes on in banks. They will not just be thinking about what they learned in class. So I'm going to have a meeting with the private sector. Betty, please, if you can put together a meeting with the private sector, we need to have a conversation with them. Because we do this for all the reasons. For economic reasons, because you need good workers, but also for social reasons, because we want a country that leaves nobody behind. We want to move together. So if we can get the private sector to give us the spaces where these young people will be placed, and also contribute, even if it is 20% or 25%. And we can even establish a framework where those who are willing to contribute more, we can ask you to net off from some of your tax issues, so that we can provide incentives for you to be able to support more young people. I am asking my friends, the development partners, to either, and I want to, John is going to be our lead in that space, and Gary here from the UN system here. If we can bring our development partners on board, we can then increase the pool of resources. I can commit to you that as a government of Kenya, we are going to increase the resources available from what we have committed this year of 2 billion shillings. Next year, we're going to commit 5 billion shillings. And depending on how the partnership grows between us and our development partners, we should be able to provide as much as possible until we get to the place where every young person graduating from university will know that they have an automatic 1-year internship in a place of their choice, and which will be supported by this program, backed by the government of Kenya. The private sector must continue opening its workplaces, sharing its knowledge, and mentoring the next generation of professionals. Together, we can build a stronger bridge between education and employment, and between promise and possibility. We have agreed with the UNDP that we are going to work on the design of this program quickly, so that we can go ahead and place these young people in the opportunities that are already available. We're going to bring more private sector companies into the equation. And we're going to support, as the government of Kenya, with the infrastructure that we have to make sure that this program succeeds. Waziri Oparanya and your team at the Department of Youth, please, we need to scale up this program. These are only 500 young people. In the next 3 months, we can support 10,000. Those are, that is my instruction. So work backwards. So in the next 3 months, we should be able to place 10,000 of such young people in places. So the private sector, please work with us so that you can grant us the spaces and we can immediately move this forward. There are so many young people. I say so from experience, because when we called for those who wanted to participate in our housing program, the people with skills in that space, the engineers, quantity surveyors, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, plumbers, masons, carpenters, we had a huge avalanche. We only picked 5,000. We're going to take another 5,000 next year. And we want to create a pipeline and a pathway for more of the people who graduate in those spaces to find on-the-job experience. As you have heard, we have a program that is running at the moment, on-the-job training, We have 90,000 young people in that space with the Department of Youth. And therefore, we want to create as many pathways as possible for us to be able to get the single most important asset we have as a nation, our human capital. We want to get it ready to contribute to the progress and development of our nation. I had an interaction with one diplomat this week, and he mentioned to me something very profound, which I believe in. As a nation, we are doing everything possible to push our programs and our development. And the base of our development, of course, is what we export from our natural resources, our agricultural products, and many of the things that we are doing. We have opened a market in China. We have opened a market with the EU. We have opened a market with the East African Community and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. We are negotiating on the basis of AGOA. We are negotiating a new trade agreement with the United States. All these spaces are important for our tea, for our coffee, for our macadamia, for our avocados, and all the fine products that we are exporting from Kenya. But Kenya will not become a first world country on that basis alone. Our human capital, export of services around our human capital is actually going to be the defining intervention that will catapult our country into a first world country. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is not our macadamia and our coffee, and they will provide us a base. But for us to get this nation to the next level, we must get all these young people into a space where we can export services, because we have a very strong human capital. We have the best, I can say that without fear of any contradiction, we have the best human capital in the world. And we must take full advantage of it. We have it in plenty. We are putting huge resources in educating and training that human resource, and we must get benefit out of it. I've just announced that we are going to provide adequate funding for all our college and university students, because it is the single most important resource we have as a nation. And we are changing the law. Kenya must be the hub for export of services globally from Kenya. So, mujipange. And I'm telling young people in Kenya, wajipange, because that's where we are going. And this program is part of that whole puzzle on how we are going to get it right. From making sure that we provide adequate resources for education and training, creating a pathway through internship and training into the job market, and creating a service industry, leveraging on our technology, leveraging on our human capital, very highly qualified human capital. When I said the other day, Kenya speaks some of the best English in the world, some people were in doubt. But go check the statistics. You can Google. Hatuko mbali na hapo, tuko karibu na hapo. So, you know, there are some people, when they speak English, you need a translator. But thankfully, we are in good space. So we must take advantage of that. That is the asset that we have. And it is the single most powerful, resource that we have as a nation. I want to commend the Kenya Private Sector Alliance and the many companies that have committed to opening their workplaces to our young people. And to the young people of Kenya, I leave you with one challenge. Give special attention to learning. Your first job is not merely a source of income. It is your next great classroom. Ni mnanielewa? I remember when I talked to the interns on our housing space here, I told them this internship is possibly an interview itself as to whether you will transition into a job. So don't focus too much on how much you're earning. Focus on how much you can learn and gain experience. So the opportunity you get today, consider it an extension of your classroom. Learn. Go out of your way, learn. Every task you undertake, every mistake you correct, every mentor you encounter, and every challenge you overcome is preparing you for opportunities that you don't have today. Those who focus only on today's salary often limit tomorrow's possibilities. But those who dedicate themselves to acquiring knowledge, building skills, cultivating discipline, and developing character eventually create opportunities that money alone can never buy. I hope you're listening to me. That is how careers are built. That is how prosperity is created. And that is how nations are transformed. Not by chance, but by choice. I am very happy to be part of this morning event. We've signed off the agreement. I have made a commitment that in the next 3 months, we must scale this up to 10,000 of these young people. We will shortlist it with the private sector to identify the spaces. We will agree with them on the model of engagement, what contribution they can make, because it is a collective effort to be able to lift our country. It is now my honor and privilege to launch the Next Generation Youth Employment Program, now called NextGen.ke.ke. Thank you very much. God bless you, and my very best wishes. Asanteni sana.
Another round of applause for His Excellency, please. Your Excellency, thank you so much. And just for the sake of optics and getting it right, we'll now have an official launch. Let's take our seats, please. Allow me to invite His Excellency, the President, and to flank him, invite the CSs present and the PSs present, together with Gary O'Neill, Dr. Look to come in, also just Betty and Carol, kindly to just flank His Excellency as we do a video launch. This will also be the first our first photo opportunity. So to the right of His Excellency, let's have, yes, the government, then, and Your Excellency, this is a video launch, so we'll just have a countdown, which takes us to the launch. Your Excellency, in 3 and 2, let's press the buzzer as the launch now takes place. A round of applause, louder than that, wonderful, as we now have a transition from the education sector to the work market. I request that we remove the buzzer so that we can have that as our first photo. Allow me to also invite 2 youth to join, those who prayed, to kindly just join and stand next to His Excellency. This is your program, so you're very much part of it. We can have one on each side as the first photo opportunity. Ooh. Thank you. The youth. What? Yeah, let's just move a little bit. Yeah, there. Thank you. Then I'll ask the CS, everybody to retreat except the CSs, and allow me to invite members of the Diplomatic Corps together with development partners present to kindly come for the photo. Development partners who are present. And let me also invite Jamlek and Stella to also join in this photo. Jamlek and Stella, who also gave us their experience. Your Excellency, if we can just move forward so that we have a bit more space on the wider side to the center, right there. Please, let's move forward. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. That brings us to the end of our session this morning, and we are truly grateful. So I'll request that we be upstanding as we allow His Excellency now to take leave, as we have come to the end of this particular session. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We've come to the end, and we'll allow His Excellency to take leave, and we can have some background music as we do that. Thank you, and do have yourselves a wonderful Friday and a great weekend ahead. God bless.
Pindi tunapowasha vifaa vyetu, tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Rwĩga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji uliobobea katika habari,
nĩ ũndũ wa macio na mangĩ maingĩ,
burudani,
Haha nĩ harĩa tũkoragwo tũkĩigua nyĩmbo mwaki nyĩmbo hota,
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma. Jiunge nasi kwa safari ya kufana katika 99.5 FM. Shoro FM.
Yes. We got them now. Keep going. 3. Nice. 2. 1. You reverse. Yes. 3. Nice.
Let's now welcome Team DGDA.
The wait is over. KBC Eco Huduma Center. Starting with Nairobi, kupata huduma za KBC imekuwa rahisi. From digital guidance and signet services to booking of commercial adverts and documentaries. Visit our dedicated desks at Huduma Center GPO, Times Square, Makadara, Kibera, or Eastleigh. Tunakungoja hapo. Whether it's a casual announcement or a specialized media solution for your business, we are here to serve you. KBC at Huduma Centers, moving closer to you. Your station, your service.